back to the Dean Diaries.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm sorry, I'm a little sick today. But in today's episode, we'll be having a Umrah Q and A. Alhamdulillah, I was invited to visit and perform Umrah in the March of 2024. So Masha's going to ask me some questions.
Okay, so to begin, I want to know how you and your family found out that you were going to Umrah. What was it like, and how did you feel when you first found out?
Yeah, so me and my family, we've been discussing about going to Umrah a couple months before, but my dad has a really busy schedule, and so we didn't really expect to go so suddenly. But my dad's been talking about how he really wants to go during Ramadan, and it's just been in the works. I guess he's been talking about it, but obviously there was nothing official, so I didn't expect anything. But also the month before we were gonna go, I felt like a really deep spiritual connection to my deen and in my iman. I felt like it started just growing, alhamdulillah, mashallah. And I started wearing the hijab right before I went. And I feel like it was just all signs, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, a month before we go, my dad told us he's booked tickets and we're gonna be going to go to Umrah. And I was so happy. Wow, it was a really it was a really emotional moment for sure. I remember that night I prayed 2 rakat nafil prayer, and it was a really amazing experience in general. And finding up and leading up to that, it was just really nice.
So when did your preparation for your trip begin? Did it ever feel overwhelming at any point?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like it's because even in our family, we were the first ones to go, so we didn't have really much background knowledge on that. So I was just asking some of my friends that you go or have knowledge about it. And obviously I started preparing as soon as I found out. We had to do a lot of shopping, for abayas and etc. to prepare for Umrah and the trip itself. And then also you have to be knowledgeable about how to perform Umrah, because it's a long process and there's a lot to know. So it did feel overwhelming at some points, because I'm just the date keeps creeping closer and closer. On top of that, I have school, so I was just it was really hard for me, I feel but at the same time, the excitement and just knowing that I'm gonna go and see the Kaaba, it was just really it got me through. And it was really fun though. I enjoyed the process.
So I know you were saying how there's a lot of knowledge you need to gain, and there's a lot of things you need to know about how to perform Umrah before you go. So how did you approach that? what did you do to learn about how to perform Umrah?
Yeah, for sure. The first thing that me and my mom did, we went out and bought how to perform Umrah books. There's books that you can buy, and have a step-by-step guide, all the duas, everything that you need to know, and everything you need to say, where to go, literally everything you need to know. We bought it at some Islamic shop. I don't really remember where, but I feel you could buy it anywhere at any Islamic.
Do you think our viewers could buy them online?
Yes, for sure. There's there's many online as well. We just that was the quickest thing for us. We saw it, and I'm pretty sure there's many online with even better ones. But those books were really helpful. Also, I spent a lot of time even during school, during my lunches, I would spend a lot of time watching how to perform Umrah videos and be taking notes. And then my notes app, I still have this really long list of how to perform Umrah and everything. So I feel just you have to find your own way to learn. I feel YouTube videos and books, that's what helped me the most, and probably is the best approach to it.
Okay. And so what would you say is your main piece of advice for sisters who are going to or plan on going to Umrah in the future?
Yeah, so make sure, first of all, when you're going there, it's really hot there. So you're probably gonna think about bringing sunscreen or skincare. And I'd advise just don't bring the makeup, just leave that behind. You probably will not be needing that. And make sure you check all your products to make sure they're not scented, they don't have alcohol, because that will, nullify your state of ihram, and you do not want to risk that. So make sure you're checking for all of that. I would just recommend bringing petroleum jelly, so Aquaphor or Vaseline if needed, and then check all your sunscreen. I didn't bring much, if I'm being honest. So I can't really recommend anything because it was my first time going. So I just was like playing it safe and didn't bring much. Also, get breathable clothing because it's really, really hot, especially for the sisters. Obviously, we have to be covered and being modest. So make sure you get really breathable clothing. Because it is really, really hot there. I just like recommend getting like really big jababs and like burqas. They're flowy, and yeah, those work really well, and they're also very modest. And then also, this is specifically for the sisters. From Isha to Fajr, when you're in Medina and you want to visit the Prophet's mosque, you have to have a reservation from the Nusuk app, I believe so. And we had a reservation. I didn't know this at the time. I found this out after I came back with Umrah. So this was yeah. But apparently from Isha to Fajr, gate 37, you can pray in the Rawda without any reservation. But this is only for the sisters. But yeah, and you should definitely, everyone, like, go check that out, especially like if you don't have a reservation, because the Prophet's mosque, it's like said to be a piece of heaven on earth, and it's one of the most wonderful experiences, so definitely take advantage of that.
Okay, now moving on to the actual trip itself, what did it feel like when you first walked into Mecca and saw the Kaaba and everything for the first time?
Wow, this is really like such an emotional like experience, and getting like even talking about it gets me so emotional. I remember when we landed in Jeddah and we were like driving to our hotel, like everything was just so breathtaking and unreal, and this was just like, it was like as we were driving to our hotel, because we were gonna perform Umrah as soon as we got to the hotel. We were gonna get ready and go perform Umrah, and I was just thinking about that. I was like, wow, I'm really about to go see the Kaaba. Like, alhamdulillah, like I have the privilege. Allah invited me to come see this and do this, and I was just so excited. Everything just felt so unreal around me, and then also being like in this just atmosphere where everyone, like, you see people in the ihrams walking down the road, like to go perform Umrah, people walking from their hotels, and it was just such like a like peaceful experience, because in this state everyone's equal. Like when everyone's in the ihram, everyone's going to through the Kaaba. There's no different like, oh, he's richer than me, or this person's blah blah, like whatever. Like there's none of that. Like everyone is equal in that state. You don't like, no one is bothered about anyone else. You're just focused on your own self and just like performing your Umrah. And then as soon as I walked, like as I because my hotel was in the clock tower, and we went down, and our like as soon as you go down, you're like, you were able to go into the Masjid al-Haram. And when I saw the Masjid al-Haram, it was so beautiful. Like, subhanallah, wow. It was it was such an unreal. I remember looking at all the architecture, and I was like, wow, subhanallah, like this is all so like beautiful, and like such a blessing from Allah that I'm even here. And it just felt, I'm not even gonna lie to you, it just felt so surreal. Like none of it felt real to me. And then we had like a guide that was helping us do all of this and perform Umrah, and we were walking into the Kaaba, and he was telling us like, you should like look down and then have your first look when we enter. So we were looking down as we enter the area to go see the Kaaba, and then he told us to look up, and as soon as I looked up, I like started just tearing up. It was, alhamdulillah, it was like the most like beautiful and most like grounding experience in a way, because at that point I was just like, I was in shock, because I'm like, I used to see this on TV online, and now I'm seeing it here in person. And it was just, yeah, it was just a really emotional like experience, and I really like recommend you just like sit there for a couple minutes and like soak it in before you start your Umrah, because I was just like so in shock, to the point I was just like, wow, like I'm really here, I'm really witnessing all this. And yeah, and at that moment, nothing else in the world matters to you. I'm like, they're not lying when they say it's the most peaceful place on earth, because I'm telling you, in that moment, like nothing else genuinely mattered. Like I didn't care about anything else. Like it just, all my worries just faded away in that exact moment, and it just felt so yeah, grounding. Alhamdulillah, like wow, I just, even thinking about it right now gets me so like emotional.
So in general, what did it feel like being in a Muslim country and away from the West for the first time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like, It was a really interesting experience for sure. Everything is so much more different there, and in a great way actually. Like I like being there. It just made me realize how much I want to move out from here, and like in the future, inshallah, like maybe like live my life in a Muslim country.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience. It's like over there, it's so normal. Like during prayer times, all the prayer times, you hear like the azan go off and everyone stops to pray. Like especially when I was in Mecca and Medina, it's a norm there. I don't know about like other places because I didn't really go out of Mecca and Medina, but in Mecca and Medina specifically, like during prayer times, wow, it was just such. It felt so unified. You don't see this like unification anywhere else like that. But like during prayer times, the azan goes off, and all the stores close down. Everyone, even people on the road, are praying. Everyone just stops and like and is praying, and it just makes you realize the importance of prayer and how important it is. And I don't know, it was just such a beautiful like experience to see like everyone come together and just be one, and like no matter how busy you are, everyone just puts down their thoughts and their like things for the day just to pray. And it's such a norm over there too, like you know what I mean. And it was so nice, yeah, and everyone there is so kind, and it was just a really great experience. And like being away from the West, and like it may just made me realize how like insignificant this dunya is really, because I
Yeah.
feel like here when I especially when I came back, I put so much significance into my grades, my schoolwork, like my success, my future, blah blah blah, whatever, right? But over there, like yeah, that stuff, it's important to be like, you know, want to have success and like be good at what you do, be good at school or whatever, but it's not like the end of the world. You know what I mean? Because it's just the dunya. I mean, like being there, it really made me realize how insignificant that is. Because, and like especially in Saudi, there's a lot of like, because of the governmental system, like a lot of the workers don't like, you know, they're not paid fairly.
Yeah.
It's unjust, but I've met a lot of them too, like on my way there. My guide, like he was telling me all about it, and there was this like specific man that I met there, and like subhanallah, he was a really great guy. He worked in like the date fields where they would like harvest dates.
Oh, nice.
And he was telling me some days, like a lot of days he doesn't get paid, and it's lucky if he even gets paid, and he works under the sun for such long hours.
Oh,
And
that's
he
so
gets
sad.
paid, yes, so little. But he says like he was telling me, and like he was telling my family, like he had a smile on his face and everything, and he was saying like alhamdulillah for everything. My like situation could be so much worse. And I was like, wow, like people here are generally like it's so much more different from our world. Like people here are so like grateful, and like it just made me realize like
Yeah, those are the people with actual good,
yeah,
like true iman.
for sure. And I was just like, wow. And I'm here complaining about what I got a bad grade on my test, and there's people out here like this, and like none of this matters at the end of the day. And like just holding on to this like iman, my deen, is just what matters. And like yeah, being in a Muslim country just really helped me realize that, because I feel like everyone is just, you know, so much like, yeah, everyone's just more unified, and you just
Yeah.
are. It just felt really nice, alhamdulillah. Like
I remember I saw online one time, it was like a post of like everybody performing Umrah or Hajj together, and like a lot, like pretty much everyone was wearing white, and like the
Yes.
description said like these are Arabs, these are Asians, white people, but you can't tell like the difference between anyone because we're all unified with like the religion of Islam. And I thought that was so beautiful. So that kind
Yeah.
of reminded me of what you were saying just now.
Yeah, it is so beautiful. I'm telling you, like, it just felt so peaceful, because, like, literally no one, like, there, no, it doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, whatever. Everyone is the same. And you just, at the end of the day, that's how we're all gonna go to the grave. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna go down the same way. Everyone's gonna go down the same road, so the same path. And we're all gonna have to meet our creator at the end of the day. And it just really helped me realize that, like, just, yeah.
Yeah. I was really wondering, did you visit the Prophet's mosque?
Yes, I did.
You did? What was it like?
When I was in Medina, you have to have a reservation on the Nusuk app. But as I was saying before, like the females, I just found that out recently. But yeah, it was wow. Medina, like a lot of people say this, but yeah, even in my opinion, I found like it being so much more peaceful because it's less busy than Mecca, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like you just go there on your own time and you spend so much time in Masjid al Nabawi, and then I visited the Prophet's mosque and like subhanallah, wow, that was wow. It is said to be one of the a piece of heaven on earth, and genuinely like there's so much peace when you're there. And like I was able to play like alhamdulillah, I was able to pray like 2 rakats over there, and wow, it was just such a wonderful experience. It just brings like tears to my eyes. But yeah, it was like it's like the amount of peace and like gratitude you feel in your heart is just unexplainable in that like exact moment. And yeah, it's just you can't even explain it. It's so much better when you're genuinely there and feeling it. And like wow, it was a really great experience. Yeah, I loved it so much.
That's really nice to hear. So a lot of people were wondering what the state of Ihram is. What do you have to do during this state?
Yeah, so it's a sacred state that we must enter before performing Umrah. For men, they wear the same white clothing, also called like the Ihram, and it represents like purity and humanity, and it shows how everyone is equal. But for females, we're allowed to just wear any modest clothing. Also for men, they can't wear like stitched clothing. And then in the state of Ihram, there you can't engage in any arguments, no killing, no using perfume, no using alcohol. And like also for women, when you're in the state of harm, you can't wear a niqab during this day. And then this like sacred state is just a state of purity and peace before like that prepares you before performing pilgrimage or umrah. So yeah, it's just like this really purified state that shows that we're all equal and like one at the end of the day.
Okay. Is there anything you wish you would have done differently during your trip? And if so, like why?
Yeah, I feel like because it was my first trip, there is like a lot of things like that I feel like I didn't do. Definitely bring shoes.
You didn't pick shoes?
I brought slides. They get stolen. Believe it or not, they get stolen a lot. So I did have to buy a lot of. Well, not stolen. I don't want to say stolen. More like I feel like because there's so many people there. Obviously,
Yeah,
shoes
they
are
might
getting.
just accidentally wear
Yeah,
your shoes.
yeah. So yeah, and bring shoes because there's a lot of walking you might have to do. I made that mistake. I was just like, oh, it's gonna be hot there. I'm just gonna bring slides. Yeah, don't do that. Bring some shoes. What else? Because this was my first time going. I didn't bring like the type of clothing I was like recommending everyone to get. Please bring breathable clothing. It's so hot over there. Yeah, bring that. Also an air tag because a lot of your items may go missing. So putting an air tag in a lot of things. My dad's wallet went missing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, maybe bringing an air tag. But yeah. Also, there's this like they use different types of chargers. So do your research on what type of chargers they use because you're gonna go there and be stuck. So, but it's okay because we were able to buy chargers. What else? Also, just like doing your research beforehand. Don't leave it off. Like I'm telling you, that'll be so much more worth it. Also, get your Rauda like reservations for Medina early on because they get full super quickly. So do them as soon as possible, as soon as you know you're going, because otherwise they'll get full and like you're gonna miss out the chance of like being able to enter the Prophet's mosque. Also, pray every prayer. Don't miss out on your prayers in Masjid al-Nabawi or Masjid al-Haram. In the Haram, I believe like one prayer, I don't remember exactly, but basically one prayer is like worth a lot of prayers if you pray in Masjid al-Haram, right? And it's just a lot. Just don't miss out on that. I feel like a lot of people like tend to get like a little lazy, but I mean I felt it myself too because it's really tiring, but it's like you don't want to miss out on that because you don't know when you're going to be back. So make sure you're praying all of your prayers if you can in Masjid al-Haram. And also for the prayers, make sure you go early because it does get full really fast and it gets really, really crowded. So make sure you go. Also, I recommend you should have the chance to pray on the rooftop of Masjid al-Nabawi. It's such a beautiful experience. Alhamdulillah. Like that was really nice as well. Pray Fajr, pray tahajjud, pray all your tahajjuds. pray tahajjud, fajr, and maghrib outside because it's so nice. You'll be able to see the sunset, sunrise. It's really nice, and they have these fans going that blow mist at you, and it's really nice and cooling and refreshing. It feels really nice.
Oh, I can imagine it. I really
Yeah.
want to go, inshallah.
Inshallah, we'll all get invited to go again. But yeah, it's really nice experience. And then praying, try to pray inside, but that gets really full, as I said before. But yeah, just spend as much time as you can there. And then also like you can also pray, like perform Umrah again for another person, I believe so. So
you can?
Yeah, you can perform it, but not for yourself, for another person. So take advantage of that as well. Like if there's some family members that like couldn't go, or like someone that was really in need of like the like swabs, like definitely do that for them. I did mine for my grandmother. Yeah, so I performed my second Umrah for my grandmother. But yeah, it was a really great experience. Oh my god, and of course, there's so many cats there. There's so many cute cats there. What I regret not doing is taking cat food with me. I'm gonna do that the next time I go, inshallah. Because they're all like just on the streets, and yeah, you could just feed them, and that's so cute. They're really adorable.
Yeah. I know you were saying earlier how like some of your shoes got lost, so you had to buy some. So on that note, like speaking of like buying, what was the shopping experience like? Because I know a lot of people get gold from Saudi and like abayas and stuff. So
yeah, for sure. The shopping experience there was really nice. I really loved it. I recommend holding off your shopping for when you go to Medina. But yeah, I did a fair share of my shopping in both places, so I feel like I have a couple to say. Definitely in Mecca, shopping is very intense because it's crowded, as I said before, and also you're short on time. I feel like I was just always short on time because it like would be prayer. I went during Ramadan as well, so it was like really hectic. By the time it's prayer, then it's like iftar time, and it was just really hectic. But yeah, it was really nice. The things there are so beautiful. And I got a lot of abayas, and they're really cheap as well. But yeah, there's a lot of cute things you'll be able to find. The shopping there is really nice. The gold there is really, really nice too. We got some gold. But overall, it was a really good shopping experience. But like, also the food there is really good, guys. So take advantage of the food. It's really good, and everything's halal. So take advantage of that. But yeah, leave your shopping for probably when you go to Medina. I feel like it's much more like down to earth and more like less like crowded than Mecca, and more peaceful, like if you're trying to shop in like kind of like a peace level-headed mind. But yeah, and also don't buy from like this like pop-up stores that you'll see in like the mall or whatever, because you're gonna get scammed. They scammed me a lot. There was this one day I went like with my mom shopping, and yeah, because if they see you without like a male figure, they're gonna scam you for sure. Yeah, and then the other day I got scammed. They scammed me out of umbrellas.
What?
I was trying to get umbrellas and it was raining.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the guy was like on the sign, it was saying how like one umbrella was like 3 riyals, and I had 30 riyals in my hand, and he just took it from my hand.
He took it all?
Yeah, he just took it all. I didn't say anything, but yeah, honestly, yeah, just leave your shopping for Medina. But yeah, honestly, the shopping experience was really nice overall. There were so many nice things, so many nice abayas.
Yeah.
I wish I could have gotten more.
Yeah, you brought a lot back with you.
Yeah, but my luggage was kind of getting heavy, so I had to stop. But yeah, it was a really nice experience.
Are you down for an all-girls Umrah trip in 2026? Like after we graduate high school?
Yeah, obviously. That's the first thing we're going to be doing.
Yes, that could be our senior trip.
Inshallah, guys. Inshallah, we get invited to do that. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
That'd be really awesome. I've always wanted to do that, actually. I've always seen those like TikToks on those girls that were like matching abayas, and go to the mosque together, and I was like, wow, that needs to be us. That's gonna be us soon, guys.
Inshallah. And then we can go to like other countries nearby, like Turkey and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Inshallah, guys. Stay tuned for the 2026 Deen Diaries Umrah trip.
Is there anything else you wanted to add before we end off this episode?
No, I think you had some really great questions, and we covered everything.
Okay, that's great. Thank you everybody for listening. Assalamu alaikum, and we'll see you back in our next episode.